morning, my YouTubers. Good morning. What's going on? How's everybody doing? I pray fine. The whole 9 yards. Welcome to JK Boxing. First of all, I want to salute everybody who subscribed to me and, keeping it real. I want to salute you. And first I want to talk about the fight last weekend. I don't agree with, I heard a couple of people say it. I heard Garcia say it. A few podcasts that I really don't respect say Charlo was just there for a check. No, Charlo was there not to get knocked out. I mean, Charlo fought not to get knocked out. If you want to call that running, or he just got a check and that was that, then that's your opinion. But I don't understand how so many people can be so much into boxing and say things like that. So I guess that's why he went all 12 rounds. It don't make sense. Either he was running or he survived the 12 rounds and lost to a unanimous decision. What it's going to be. Second of all, I want to talk about Derrick James. I was telling people a while back that Derrick James, to me, wasn't this coach of the year and wasn't this big hurrah. Again, I'm going to go back and say what I always say. If it's a difference between a boxing fan and a real boxing fan, which is called a casual, which only tune in to the fighters they hear about all the time, like Canelo, Mayweather, any big names you hear, that's when the fight parties come out and this and that, or even if you don't know the fighter, you may know people that's real fight fans and, oh yeah, such and such fight, let's have a fight party, woo, 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 and like that. But going back to Derrick James, if you go on YouTube and Google him, he used to box. All his fighters, to me, fight similar to how he fought in the pros. And let's be real, he sucked. He wasn't, this big, a championship fighter and this and that. No. To me, if you look at his fighters that he trained, they have his style. They have his exact style. Period. Now, let's go back to the fight. To the Charlo fight. We're going to go back to the Spence fight. In both of them fights, he got stuck. He really didn't know what to do in case of emergency. The man was stuck. All that money he's getting paid, he's stuck because he was getting a lot of hype at one time. But if you even go back to his pad work with his fighters, it's the same old 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 1. It's never bang, bang, boom, bang, bang, angles. It's never angles, ever. And I was always taught the same way you train is the same exact way you're gonna come out there and fight. I don't care if you're a pro or amateur. Period. How you train is exactly how you're gonna fight. That's the bottom line. Okay, let's go back to Spence. Let's go back to Charlo and Castano. Let's go back to the first one. Bang. He stayed on the ropes that whole fight, y'all remember. The whole fight he stayed on the ropes. And that's all Derrick James was telling him, please get off the ropes, box. You gotta box with this guy, box. He wound up drawing him. Went back to the drawing board, trained him. They trained. I guess he got off the ropes in training. They had a pressure fight on him, and he came back and he did better. He didn't play the ropes as much. Remember I said as much. He didn't play the ropes. And he wound up stopping Castano. But it was still the same lackluster performance. Then you have the Spence, but right down the middle, walking right in for everything. Everything. I'm talking about keeping it real, and people might don't agree with this, and I understand because y'all just don't really know boxing, but Spence looked like an amateur against Bud. Period. Bud beat the shit out of Arrow. You could say it was the layoff and this and that, but okay, if it was the layoff, how he come back and beat Danny Garcia the way he beat him? One of the hardest hitting left hooks in boxing, Danny Garcia, Philly ball. He has one of the best left hooks in boxing, hands down. Spence dog walked him. let's go to Ugas. Now, the Ugas from the other night is not the same Ugas that fought Spence. Majority of the guys that fight Spence until he fought Bud is never the same boxer. Think about it. If you know boxing, you know that. They never come back the same. In other words, Spence will end your career. And look at Ugas. Look at Danny Garcia. Then look at Bud. He had layoffs all them fights. He even had a detached retina. He had the detached retina, came back for Danny Garcia with what you call it? He didn't need no fight, warm up, nothing. Went right in there with him. After the Danny Garcia fight, he was in some other stuff. Little guy stole his parents' car and hit him from the back. He went right in there and fought Ugas. Right in there and fought him. After being known for a while. So, you know, I don't give Spence, you know, all the excuses and this and that, you know. I love the sport of boxing. At the end of the day, I like, you know, I like seeing fighters fight fighters. If you know what I mean. Robert Garcia said, well, you know, Spence just, he just came and he got a check. You know, he just came and got a check, but Derek James gonna learn from all this. And you can't teach you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Period, man. I don't care how you slice it. You can't. You can't. I believe, but don't quote me on it. I believe Frank Martin left already. That's what I believe. I believe if he did, that was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful move. Because you have people that can start the business, but they just don't know how to maintain the business. They have to pay someone to come in to do that. You have some people that can maintain a business. That's what they good at, but they don't know how to start it. So people pay them to, that's their thing. Now, I believe Derek James took Spence, I'm going to say Spence, as far as he could take him. And that's it, because this is how they linked up. You could Google this, all you squares that really don't know boxing. But this is how Derek James came into play with Spence. They was at an amateur event, and Spence's father was there. So they watching the fight, and Spence was doing something wrong, dropping his hand or wasn't holding something, and Derek James was explaining to him, well, he got to do this, and if he was to do this, and so his father said, well, you think you can work with him on that? He was like, yeah, I could work with him on that. So they linked up a couple of times, and they wasn't compatible at the beginning. Spence was wanting to do his thing, and James was stuck in his ways, so they would clash. But his father was seeing him progressing, and whatever Derek was helping him with. Make a long story short, Spence Jr. caught on. It's like, this guy know what he's talking about. He won a couple of fights with him, and then they start getting cool, working on things, getting cool, and they just asked him to come on. Can you come on and come over and train him with his pro career? And that's how they linked up. And Spinks was fighting 154 at the Spinks. Spence was fighting at 154 when he first turned pro. But the world found out who Spence was, the casuals found out who Spence was when he went over to the UK and knocked, what's his name, Eyeball out of socket. Name escapes me. Oh, I'm so sorry. His name completely escapes me right now. But when Spence went over there, and discombobulated the boy Eyeball all crazy. But that's when the non-casuals, and as well as the casuals, that's when everybody knew who this man was. But I knew these guys from the amateur. Just like a lot of people don't know that Boots lost to Antoine. He lost to him in the amateurs. Yeah. He lost to him. Gary. Yeah. He lost to him. That's why Antoine told Devin Haney, when Devin Haney and the oldest Gary was going to fight, and Gary ducked him. It was a duck. He really didn't want to fight Haney. That's when Antoine told him, I'm going to get you for popping all that shit to my brother. And he up there at 140. He up there at 140, and what's crazy, right? A lot of people don't know who Gary Antoine Russell is. They know Gary Russell. All of them have the name Gary, but they middle names change. Antoine is the one that fight 140. Monster. Straight up and down. monster. He beat Boots Ennis in the amateurs. All out, beat him. He beat him. But I'm going to tell you, the real boxing fans know who Antoine Russell is. We know who he is. People talking, what was so crazy is that I didn't see people talk about 140, and they talking about Devin Haney, Progress. They talking about a few of them guys up there at 140. And they even talking about Tiafimo. But they not saying Antoine. You don't hear Antoine in the conversations. You don't. But I'm going to tell you, and now I done told y'all, Gary Antoine Russell, the 140. It's another Russell at 120. It's another Russell at 118, I believe. Because Gary fight 126. I'm telling you, watch how Antoine Russell be ducked soon. Watch. Boys don't want no smoke, man. Boys don't want no smoke. We know about him. We know about him. He coming. Pause. He coming. He coming, boy. He coming. Boots gonna stay at 147. He gonna always watch. He's gonna always watch what Russell do. He's gonna watch him. He do not want to get in the same weight class as him. At all. Trust me. Trust me. The boy Antoine he's a dog. For real. Love the guy. Love him. People think because I'm from Jersey that Shakur Stevenson supposed to be my number one fighter, my main fighter. I love him. I really do. I think he's a sharpshooter. I don't think nobody at 135 could beat him. I really do feel like that. But my favorite fighter right now is Tank Davis. That's my favorite fighter. I think he's well-rounded. Now, you guys can Google the stuff I say. He's the most accurate fighter in the game right now. When I say that, something like 97% of the punches he throws connect. But you gotta remember, he don't throw a lot of punches. He's one of the most smartest boxers in boxing to date. What he does is he sets you up. That's his whole twist of boxing. He line you up. He box to get you to boxing, to get you to box back. And that's where he start pop shotting you. And he has strength in both hands. He would knock you out with the right hand. He would knock you out with the left hand. With whichever which way you want it. I believe he would knock Devin Haney out. I wholeheartedly believe that. That Tank will stop him. The only one out there in that weight class that'll give him work and might even beat him is Shakur Stevenson. But the thing is, can Shakur take his power? That's the only thing. 2023 was an awesome year for boxing, and it's still not over. We got some fights coming up. They're talking about Floyd supposed to be coming back to fight what's his name? Oh my God. 147-pounder. Keith Thurman. They say Floyd's supposed to be coming back to fight Keith. Now I'm gonna tell you something. The smartest thing Floyd ever done was stayed out of for real boxing. Now, Floyd, I know you in shape, my guy. I know, all that. But, bro, them guys are technically still young. Keith Thurman is only 34 going on 35. Spence is 34. Bud is the only one. Bud's going on 36, if I'm not mistaken. Bud's going on 36. Bud a little older. But his style, he have a good 2 more years. But Floyd, come on, Floyd, you on the other end of 50. Leave boxing alone and keep doing what you're doing, man. Retire, leave it alone, man. You're gonna wind up getting your head knocked off. Leave it alone, bro. You made all the money in the world. You got everything you want, man. Leave boxing alone. Give it up. Anyway, I just wanted to get on, say some things, I just want to touch on Mario Barrios. For a lot of y'all that don't know, you casuals, Mario Barrios is the one that fought Tank when Floyd came to the ring and said, "You losing on the scorecard, the one that don't count. You said you losing on that." If y'all remember, that's Mario Barrios, who was beating the shit out of Tank the whole fight. Well, I take that back. Who was jabbing Tank to death the whole fight. Tank came out that 10th round. No, he came out that 9th round. It was a whole nother Tank, man. That's when Tank dropped him with the body shot and the knife. He dropped him with the body shot. And then he dropped him again with the right hook. Came out in the 10th round. He dropped him again. But Mario Barrios survived the 11th round. He came out the 12th round and ended the fight. He wound up knocking Mario out. They fought in Atlanta. That's Mario Barrios. That's him when they was in the weigh-in. Floyd was this short, Mario was this big. And Floyd even stated a couple of times, he said, I was nervous because first of all, I'm a 130 pounder. At the time, that's what he said. I'm a 130 pounder. I'm up here at 140 fighting Mario Barrios, and Mario Barrios was like almost 6 foot. And Tank was 5'3", 5'4", something like that. No more than 5'5". So he stopped him. Then Mario Barrios came back. He went up to 147. He fought Tank at 140, shot to 147, and lost to Keith Thurman by the skin of his teeth. He just lost to Keith Thurman. Just lost to him. Then he came back and fought Ugas at 147. And that's his first win since he moved up. Yep. He fought Tank, lost. He fought Keith Thurman. He coming off 2 losses. And the crazy thing is he nice. He good. I like him. I think he's a very good fighter. You know, I think he's a very good fighter. But I'm excited to see what a couple of guys gonna do. Ortiz, I want to see what he gonna do. The knockout artist. I want to see. I'm excited to see Shakur next fight. Against man, boy name escapes me right now, the Spanish boy. I'm excited to see that fight. I'm very excited to see that fight. I think Shakur gonna beat him, but he's a tough cookie from the Dominican Republic. Definitely tough. And they fighting for the world title also. They fighting for the belt that who dropped that belt? I can't remember who dropped that belt. But Devin Haney. I think it's the WBC, if I'm not mistaken. But they took that belt. And now Shakur was next in line for it. But another decent fight is Prograis and Devin Haney. He might give Devin that first show. I'm telling you, even though and to me, Prograis could never technically box. Like he could never get out there and box, but he's a great fighter, if you know what I mean. Very good fighter. Very good. Um, yeah, some exciting stuff coming up for the end of the year. So tune in, man. Look, when I send out when I send out the notifications or whatever to people who I'm cool with, who I dig, who's my peoples. If if you're not a boxing dude, I understand that. That's cool, but just subscribe to me. Hit the subscribe button. You know what I mean? Just hit the subscribe button. Rashawn Pittman, like you writing a name. Tell a friend to tell a friend, man. I'm trying to get my subs up. Salute to all the real ones. Salute to all the real ones. You know how I ended. Jersey.